Hello, welcome to this YouTube exclusive betting show on the Under Centre podcast. I'm your host, Darren Marr, and I am joined, of course, as always, by Fionn Malloy and Jake Woolhead. Lads, these past few weeks since we started this betting show, we've only had, I think, one win that we can definitely account for. We kind of have to pick it up a little bit this week.
Yeah, we need to pick up the slack. I had one winner last week, but of course I didn't share that out just in case I put the bad juju on it. But I was celebrating my mediocre win in the pub, so that money didn't last very long.
Oh, we know. We saw you celebrating during the live show.
Oh, I've been celebrating all this week. I have not stopped.
It wasn't even your wedding.
No, that's the best part about it. No pressure on me to do anything. I just had to drink.
Yeah. You sort of had this period now where you're going to a lot of weddings. That's going to be me now in 2022. It seems to be there's a wedding every week I have to go to now in 2022.
2.2 million weddings in Ireland in 2022 there, so there's a good chance you'll be inviting a few more.
That cannot possibly be true, Jake. Unless people are getting married 3 times. How? Think about it. There's only 5 million people in Ireland. How could there be 2.2 million weddings? That would be 4.4 million people getting married.
It could happen.
I feel a little more upset that I wasn't invited to these many weddings.
I think we discovered why we don't win any bets. This is the kind of calculations that Jake does.
Yeah, well, it's because you don't listen.
We're way off.
That many wedding bookings, right? But
maybe wedding bookings. I don't know.
From anywhere and get married in Ireland. It's meant to be very nice to get married in Ireland.
Actually, yeah, people could get married in Ireland.
Maybe, but even then, that's a hell of a tourist trait that I never knew we had. 2.2 million.
Don't say that though. 2.2 million, with a 5 million population. I'm going to get in trouble for the only ones that aren't getting married now next year in 2022. So you'll get me in trouble. Don't
you and the people that are still in Montessori, they're the only people not getting married this year, according to Jake's statistics.
I got it wrong. It was million euros, 2.2 million euro.
Wow, that sounds.
That sounds more likely. To be fair, I didn't put the number of. I didn't put the number of people in Ireland against people that could get married, so that's my fault.
That's true, but we're not a marriage show, guys. This is a betting show, and that's what we're here to speak about.
Where the numbers really matter.
Where the numbers really matter, and these are the bets that if you want to win, seemingly the record states that you don't put these on. But look, we'll try anyway and continue because it's a weird week this week with so many cricket scores, you could say, that in point differential. I think the Cardinals 17 points, the Rams are 16.5 points. There's some crazy handicaps that we're getting in this, and it's kind of hard to find value this week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I was looking at the bets today as well, and I was thinking, what's a good number here? But it seems like they're right on point, so it's gonna be hard to pick them.
Yeah, of course, and make sure if you are betting this weekend, you are betting responsibly too, and we always like to state that on the show. But Fionn, I'm actually going to let you go first this week with your bet. Tell me, who are you picking, and maybe a little bit of why.
Yeah, we always kind of discuss in the chat beforehand what we're going to do, give everybody a bit of variety, and luckily it was my turn to pick first this week, so I got all the really nice bets. I'm going to take Carolina. They're -3 against the Giants. The Giants just don't look good, and I believe Carolina are going to win that game, and if they win that game, it's going to be more than a field goal. I don't see that one being particularly close, so I'm going to take Carolina at -3. Then I'm going to take the Ravens at 6.5 against the Bengals. The Bengals are a good team. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close, but I was analyzing it. 6.5 sounds like a lot, but it's under a touchdown. So if it's by 1 touchdown, you can still win that bet. So I like that. I think that it might be a close game, but I think the Ravens should cover a touchdown on that. So Ravens -6.5 against the Bengals. And then I'm going to throw in a Washington football team bet. They are not particularly going to close any handicap, but I do think they've been scoring quite well this year. The defense has been quite bad. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are a very dangerous offense. So I'm going to take the over at 48.5 points in that game.
Okay, not a bad bet. we contradict each other on one of them. I'll get into that in a while. I like the Washington and the Green Bay over 48.5, which is pretty good. What was the other one? You're taking the Baltimore -6, isn't it? And
minus
the
6.5.
Panthers -3.
Panthers -3. Yeah, and I threw in a Kyle Pitts anytime touchdown. They're playing the Dolphins. He got his first touchdown a couple of weeks ago, so he's feeling himself. And I think if anybody's going to score against that defense, it's probably going to be Kyle Pitts.
I think you're right, and I think it all depends on what sort of Dolphins defense is there, because they really missed Xavier Howard last week against the Jaguars, and for a defense that played so well last season, they really are struggling, and the whole team in general is struggling. 1-5, and I don't know what's going on. They were 10-6 last year, now 1-5 this year. It's such a fall, and it's a little concerning. But Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the bets. I was going to pick Panthers over the Giants at -3, but I just can't bring myself to bet against the Giants too often unless I'm hoping for a win. But I certainly can see it being over -3 points. I think that's a good number for the Panthers. The Giants are missing some very key players and just don't look good overall. So I do like that bet. The Packers and the Bengals over our Washington team over 48. I think that's quite high. I'm not too sure that hits the over myself. I thought the Packers, well, we know they can score, and the Washington don't look like they can defend too well, but I'm not sure it makes it over 48.5 points. I'm probably thinking about 45, 48, 46 points or something at that. And then your last one, the Ravens -6.5. I like that. I have that in my own bet as well. I thought, as you said, Fionn, the Bengals look good, but they don't look that good that the Ravens couldn't cover a touchdown against them. So I'm hoping for the same in that game.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to go next with my one. I think that this is where we contradict ourselves a little bit. I actually have the Giants +3 this week. I think that the Giants are due a win. I think they're going to get it. I know they have injury troubles. I know Tony is out. I know Andrew Thomas is out.
Barkley's out.
Barkley's out. I don't know. I think that the Panthers are on a little bit of a slide at the moment. The comments from Matt Rule earlier on in the week saying that he's going to have to change the identity to a running team means that he's not really fully behind Sam Darnold either. Like, Sam Darnold had 95 yards and an interception with 6 minutes left on the clock against the Vikings before he brought it back to go into overtime. They are struggling without Christian McCaffrey. It seems as though, like, you wouldn't think if you take a running back out of a team that they would struggle so as much as they are, but this is happening with the Panthers at the moment. Their defense took a bit of a step back last week. It took a bit of a step back against the Eagles the week before. I'm thinking when Sam Darnold gets into MetLife, he has a bit of PTSD from his time with the Jets, and he probably goes back to Jets-style Darnold. So I think the Giants are worth it. I think the Giants would be worth 3 points. I think they might win. So if I get the 3 point as well, I'm even happier. Next is the Jets. I have the Jets +7 against the Patriots this week. Patriots, their defense spent a lot of time on the field last week against the Cowboys. They struggled towards the end. I think the Jets showed a bit in that London game that they can come back a bit from adversity. Zach Wilson is starting to get a little more comfortable now with that Jets team. I think Robert Saleh is starting to get a bit of a foothold on the defense as well. And I know that the Patriots blew them out the last time, but I don't think it'll be as bad this time. I think the Patriots may still win it, but I don't think they're going to win by any more than a touchdown. Fionn, I'm going with you, the Washington and the Green Bay over 48.5. Washington's offense, okay. Washington defense, bad. Green Bay's offense, good. Green Bay's defense, not so good. I just think that leads to points. So I think that's why I'm going with the over. And this one, I'm going a little bit out there because I think that it's a possibility. Cooper Kupp, 2+ touchdowns in the game against the Detroit Lions this week. I was really, really upset with how bad the Detroit Lions played last week. After playing so well the previous weeks and not winning, last game against the Bengals, they were just playing bad. They were really, really bad. They could not get anything going. Jared Goff is really struggling on offense as well. I think it's going to be a really bad game for him going back to SoFi as well. So that's what I'm going to go with. A quick recap: Giants +3, Jets +7, Washington and Green Bay over 48.5, and Cooper Kupp plus 2+ touchdowns in the game. If you go with that, you're going to get odds of 30-1, so you could be in for a good payday if it happens. If you want to take the Cooper Kupp touchdowns out of it, 6-1. If you want to take Cooper Kupp just with 1 touchdown, it's 10-1. So there's some value there. But guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the bets here. I'm gonna say I like the Giants +3 because obviously it would make me happy to see the Giants win, or at least be close. I do like it. I could see it happen if Daniel Jones plays well and has a good day. Jason Garrett calls a good offense. I could see it happening. And then you have you shut up.
Jason
I have to be
Think
hopeful.
of the sentence you just said. Jason Garrett calls a good offense.
I have to be hopeful, Phil.
My God, we're getting delusional on this show.
I have to be delusional.
Listen, Fionn, you have to be careful about giving out about the clapper, because all I've seen this season from Ron Rivera is clapping as his side loses another game or turns over the ball again. So let's be careful about how we put down other teams in this division or on this show, right?
The Jets +7 over the Patriots. Yeah, I like that bet. I'm not a huge fan of the Jets so far this season, as I'm sure nobody is. But it is a divisional game. Divisional games tend to go a bit weird. They lost the first game to the Pats, so I'm hoping there's a bit of a lesson learned from Zach Wilson and co. And they can come back and get a nice little win, or at least for Dara's sake, closer than 7 points. You have the Washington Green Bay over 48.5. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of that. Not a fan of it, but I just think 48.5. It's right at that number. I would have put that game if you hadn't just asked me out straight. So I think it's very close. That one is very close. And then your Cooper Kupp 2+ TDs. It could be one of those games. I just think like Cooper Kupp, when he gets the ball in his hand, he can touch it. He can get a touchdown at almost any time. So yeah, I like that touchdown bet.
Yeah, the one that stands out for me the most is the Patriots, because it's going to go one of either way. I'm just looking at the scores here. The Patriots, because when you said that, I was kind of thinking back, like the Patriots haven't really won big at all in any game this season, and I was right. The only game that they've won by more than 7 is the last Jets game, and so that's why I'm like maybe a little bit worried for you, given the only other time they've done it was the Jets, so it's possible to be repeated. But that's a pretty nice bet. I like that. That's a good deep dive. We agreed on one, obviously, and again, I agree with Jake on the Cooper Kupp. If anyone's going to score 2 touchdowns, he gets enough of the ball and he's dangerous enough to be one of the few choices in the league if you're going to go for multiple touchdown games.
Brilliant. So let's wrap it up here with Jake. Let's hear your bet now for this weekend.
Okay, the over-under on weddings in Ireland is under 2.2 million, so you have to pick for the NFL this season. For this weekend, I picked the Ravens -6.5. Darry, you already said it. We talked about the Bengals. I just don't think they're good enough to cover the 7 points against a strong enough Ravens team. The Bengals Ravens over 46.5. I think that's a good bet now, to be honest. The Ravens show they can score. The Bengals have some weapons. I'd like to see these two teams battle it out, and hopefully for my bet, the Ravens come out on top over a touchdown in the difference. And then I have the Chiefs -4.5. They're playing, I can't remember.
The
Titans, yeah. They're playing the Titans. I think -4.5. We know the Chiefs haven't been playing all that well. And the Titans, they'll just run the ball at the Chiefs, and they've no defense, the Chiefs. So I just think you're going to give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes quicker than you want to, and he's going to just do Patrick Mahomes things with the ball. So I like that bet, actually. And my touchdown bet would be an Aaron Rodgers anytime touchdown at 7-1. Well, we all know Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of wheels under if he gets down towards the red zone. So let's see if he can run one in here on the weekend against the Washington football team and their highly vaunted defense. But yeah, I haven't put the two together because I don't like doing anytime bets along with trebles. But the treble on its own is 5.86 6-1, and Aaron Rodgers is 7-1 anytime touchdown. So I'm sure you get a nice bet out of that if you wanted.
Yeah, if you want, I'll let you pull it apart first.
No.
Yeah, I actually I agree with most of his bets, to be honest with you. I am very fond of an all Aaron Rodgers anytime touchdown, I have to say. The Chiefs Titans game, I stayed away from that because depending on what team you get for both teams, that can swing pretty wildly. The Chiefs can blow out the Titans, and the Titans can blow out the Chiefs just as easy. So I kind of wanted to stay away from that for my bet. So I applaud Jake for taking a bit of bravery there. But that was the big bet that stood out mostly to me.
Yeah, the one that kind of stood out to me was the going with the over in the Ravens game. Because I went with the over last week and I got burned with it with the Ravens, but that wasn't on the Ravens. That was more on the Chargers. I think that the Ravens will hold on to the ball for a long time as well, being a notoriously running side. I don't know if the time that the Bengals will have on the ball will be enough for them to rack up points. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But like I said, the Ravens could start throwing it. If the Bengals can get up early, then I would think that the Ravens will hit the over. It's all about the Bengals starting well on Sunday, because if they fall behind by a couple of touchdowns early, the Ravens will just hold on to that ball and just keep that scoreboard ticking over, but maybe not enough to hit the over. That's the only one that I'm worried about. The rest of them are pretty good. Aaron Rodgers, anytime touchdown score, yeah, he saw when he's within 5 yards of the end zone, I just watch for him to run it in.
I just searched there. I just wanted to check the Derrick Henry rushing yards against the Chiefs, and I've never seen it really. It's at 125.5 yards for the over-under on rushing yards. That's very high. That's incredibly high. I know the Chiefs don't have a great defense, especially a great rushing defense, but 125 yards, they'll probably take Henry out before he gets to that point.
Well, they never take him out. That's the thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, they did
never, because he wants that like 2,000 yard season.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But 125, I just think that's quite high for a single game over under to be set at the rushing yards.
Have the Chiefs had anyone that has run over them though?
I don't think
teams have thrown against them enough. They've thrown against them a lot this year, but I don't know if they've run against them a whole lot. And I think with Chris Jones back as well, he's going to be back playing as a defensive tackle too. So I think maybe that will help, but I don't know. He might be close to it, but like if you're a brave man and you have to bet the under on a Derrick Henry rushing yardage total, it could work out.
Well, I don't know. 125 is quite high, so I would probably take it. I don't know if I'll take it, but I would probably take 125 under 125 yards.
Mm-hmm. Fionn, anything to add before we wrap this show up?
No, I think I agree with what you mentioned at the start. If we haven't picked winners, we maybe have at least shown you some bets you want to stay away from this weekend. So one way or the other, we gave some very good information. It's just whether it makes you money or keeps you from losing money.
That's it. Well, if we can help in any way, we're happy with that. If you have any bets that you are going to go with, you can tell us on our socials. Go to our Facebook, facebook.com/undercenterpod. Or you can go to our Twitter or Instagram pages. They are both at undercenterpod. That's where you will be able to let us know what you're going with this week, and hopefully you win a bit of money. We'll be back, of course, on Tuesday with our live review show of Week 7 of the regular season, and of course we'll have our Week 8 bet show next week for you too. But until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.